I've talked about this multiple times on the channel before, but what I think is the most annoying thing about modern basketball discourse is how people talk about the supporting casts of their favorite player. Nowadays, people are so tribalistic and so fanatical about their favorite player that it doesn't just stop at bragging about their favorite player, but they feel like they also have to degrade their favorite player's supporting cast in order to make their guy stand out to an even greater extent. Jordan fans do it, Kobe fans do it, and LeBron fans do it as well. Without question, one of the biggest victims of this, and possibly the biggest victim of them all, is the former NBA All-Star Kevin Love. Nowadays, if you suggest that the 2014 to 2015 Cleveland Cavaliers were an NBA super team, you'll quickly be ridiculed by a plethora of LeBron fans. But let me tell you, back then, I was there. And when Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, and Kevin Love all ended up on the same team, that felt like it was an emergence of yet another LeBron-led super team. In hindsight, people are acting like Kevin Love was simply a role player and wasn't a legitimate star at the time he joined LeBron. And sure, I'm not going to deny the fact that he wasn't as good in Cleveland as he was in Minnesota. But there was reasons for that. Just like Chris Bosh before him, Kevin Love was joining a LeBron James-led team, and he was going from the number one scoring option to a third scoring option. And in a LeBron James-led offense, where he likes to orchestrate things as a ball-dominant floor general, guys like Chris Bosh and Kevin Love are often relegated to roles where they have to sit on the perimeter, which wasn't their style before joining LeBron James. So many of LeBron's fans tend to be really young basketball fans, which makes sense considering the fact that he's still an active player in the NBA. But because of that, I think a lot of the people who are rooting for LeBron are not usually familiar with Kevin Love in his prime. Without mincing words, Love was an absolute beast in Minnesota. He really took off at the age of 22 in the 2010 to 2011 season, as he won the NBA's Most Improved Player award. And that year, he averaged over 20 points per game and put up a ridiculous league-leading average of 15.2 rebounds per game. Consider the fact that since the turn of the millennium, no player other than Andre Drummond and Ben Wallace have ever averaged more rebounds per game in a single season than Kevin Love. That's how good of a rebounder he was. He was also 47% from the field and a stellar 41.7% from three-point range. At such a young age, he was already in the conversation of the best power forward in the NBA. He was the league's best rebounder, a top scorer, an incredible passer, and one of the best shooting big men that the game had to offer. The very next year was the 2011 to 2012 lockout-shortened season, and that year, Love averaged 26 points, 13.3 rebounds, and 2 assists, while hitting 45% of his shots. He was so solid that season that he finished 6th overall in the MVP voting. He missed a significant amount of time the following season due to an injury, but the year after was the 2013 to 2014 season. At the age of 25, he averaged 26 points, 12.5 rebounds, and 4.4 assists, while making nearly 46% of his shots and 38% of his threes. Love was not only a great player, but he was legitimately viewed as one of the best players in the entire league, and at one point was even an MVP candidate for an organization that usually doesn't win very much. And then what some people try to do is they'll then try to discredit Kevin Love in Minnesota by making the point that he never even made the NBA playoffs before joining forces with LeBron James. But my point is the same thing can be said about Kyrie Irving, and we don't use that narrative against him. If you want to look at how good Kevin Love was in Minnesota, then consider his impact on the team before and after he was on the roster. In Love's final season with the Minnesota Timberwolves, where he put up about 26 points and 13 rebounds, they had a 40-42 record. And after he departed for Cleveland, Minnesota plummeted to a disgusting 16-66 record. LeBron James fans always like to bring up the fact of how good LeBron-led teams were when he was on the roster and how much they plummeted after he departed. But for some reason, that same logic doesn't apply to Kevin Love. It's almost as if it doesn't fit the agenda. Now listen, in no way is this video meant to come across as shade to LeBron James, because every superstar needs to have some help in order to win a championship. That is something I have always understood. So I don't see this video as a way of belittling a superstar just because I'm making a claim that a guy had help. But really what I'm trying to do is remind people to stop disrespecting Kevin Love. At one point, the guy was one of the best players in the entire league, and anyone who was watching him closely in that time could back me up on that. And even in Cleveland, it wasn't like he was garbage. In the 2016 to 2017 season, he averaged about 19 points and 11 rebounds and was an NBA All-Star. And the following season, he averaged nearly 19 points and 9 rebounds and was an All-Star then as well. Again, he just didn't have the role and the opportunities to put up the numbers he once put up in Minnesota. But that doesn't mean that they were fake, and that doesn't mean that he was never the real deal. It just simply means that his individual abilities thrived in one situation more so than another. So what do you guys think? Who is a player who usually takes criticism due to revisionist history? I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.